I'm grateful that you took time off your busy schedule to join
Yeah,
me today
thanks.
for this interview.
Thank you. Yes, it's my
Sir,
pleasure, Pratiksha.
mid-90s era saw a rise
Yes,
of our
yes.
arch rival, the Pakistan cricket team. And like in terms of overall cricket, be it batting or bowling, Pakistan has been excelling it at that time. How has that scenario changed right now? Like, how do you think has Pakistan's journey gone from your era till today's date?
In my era, the countries, we were one of the weakest team in that competition in comparison to England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa at that time due to the apartheid. They could not participate, of course, and Pakistan were very recognized team as well. So on those basis, I think our players gradually matured, and we started being equally competent with the teams. So on those lines, we had the first tour was the home series against Pakistan in 1979. Okay, so on those that was the goodwill visit by the Pakistan team, and they had some iconic, legendary players like Asif Iqbal, right, Imran Khan, Zahir Abbas, the Mushtaq brothers. Wow, right. Of course, Hanif was much more before, right? And Mushtaq and Sadiq Muhammad, these two brothers, were with the Pakistan team, and of course Sarfaraz Nawaz and the speedsters. At the moment, I'm not getting their names except Imran Khan. Of course, Sarfaraz Nawaz also was there, but not touring India. Okay, there were some one or two youngsters. There was one opening batsman, Mudassar Nazar, Mohsin Khan. All these guys were very highly respected and regarded and very popular cricketers. We had a wonderful series, but we won that home series. Then we were invited by the Pakistan board in again 1979-80 to Pakistan, and the competition used to be fierce on the field. Yeah. Right, no team wanted to lose. It was something like England playing Australia, or Australia playing England at the Ashes series. And we were great friends whenever we met in Pakistan. I think that was Bishan Bedi's captaincy at that time. And I think we had to return because the assassination of our Prime Minister took place while we were there, Mrs. Indira Gandhi.
Yes, sir.
We had to rush back. So on those, and then in comparison to today's scenario, right? Now, to tell you the truth, you see, according to me, I don't see any kind of gentlemanness into this great game of cricket. Right, there are gentlemen playing throughout in every team, but it's played like a war now. We cannot lose. That's the motto each team is following now, and there is, and I will prove why this is not called a gentleman's game. To my mind, it is still a gentleman's game.
Like talking to you and not talking about your two glorious centuries, that was one against Australia and the other against, at that time, mighty England with Ravi Shastri sir. Which one do you acknowledge more? Because everybody has been talking about those two glorious century that was under your hand.
Now, I will not talk about the glorious centuries at all. It is important where your performance brings glory to your team and glory to your country.
So that was a century.
That is where I look at.
Syed Kirmani's century.
No two ways about it. Yes, fair enough. Yeah, you say now that one as a night watchman against Australia, 1979 home series.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have the stats with you in front. Okay. So as a night watchman, I'm without the lantern in my hand, I went in.
Oh my God. And then I would really want to hear about that, sir. Please go ahead.
So, so I had to save my team from the slide, from defeat,
Yeah.
which I did. So that was a very proud moment for me, saving my team from defeat, bringing the Indian team into the limelight. Yeah, that's it. The century against the first century against Australia in the home series, that was my comeback series, because 79 tour to England, and the second World Cup I was dropped like a hot brick.
Oh, but sir, you like, let me come straight forward to the test series you played in. I think it was 77. In I think in Australia it was, which actually etched deep down in everybody's heart during that time, where you scored 300 plus runs, and that too in tough batting conditions.
Yes, absolutely. You see, now this is where it matters. You see, now you got to perform wherever. Even if you perform, I was at the peak of my pinnacle in 1986 in Australia, a top performance in every tournament, and in wherever I have figured, I was very successful. Graph was going upwards, right? With all that performance, I was dropped again.
Sir, I
At the
want to
peak of
know
my
that,
career.
like, Australia has been one team which is very strong, no doubt about that, and somewhat people around the nation. I'm not talking specifically about the cricketers, but people around the nation have this thing in mind that if we're playing against Australia, they have that little fear in them that there are chances of losing, because Australia actually is like one of the strongest teams, and which has maintained its consistency. It was strong back then, it's strong even now. So, like, can you guide us through what was your team's dynamic when you play against such a hefty team? And given that India would be touring Australia once
You
again
see,
in December this time.
yes, of course. You see, now the great game has its glorious uncertainties to start with. Okay, now West Indians, right? They ruled cricket for nearly 2 decades,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Before with the iconic and legendary plays with them, with Clive Lloyd as the captain and all those players, right? They ruled cricket for nearly 2 decades. This is, I'm talking about the 70s and the 80s between. So the transition took place in when the iconic West Indian players retired. The younger players had some problems with the board of control with West Indies, and the IPL came into the scene.
Yeah.
IPL brought a lot of money into it. Okay, the television and the etc. You know that, so I don't have to say that. So the mindset of the players went towards the money involved in this great game.
Yeah.
All right, and so Australia were magnanimous in letting their players play IPL before the ICC tournaments could take place. You see, they could adjust. They could accommodate their players, go and play IPL, make some money, come back and play for Australia when it is a test series between England and Australia. Yeah. So on those lines, you see, the West Indies fell apart. The team fell apart.
Yeah.
Right. So they are still there's some political scenario is very strongly going on in West Indies at the moment, where top players are not being involved in their test team.
What was the biggest challenge you faced during your cricket career?
The Zimbabwe match, playing the World Cup 17-5. So that was the match where we had to win at any cost to qualify for the knockout stage. Yeah. To qualify for the knockout stage. Now, I'm going at number 8. Yeah. Only one player behind me is the last man, Balwinder Singh Sandhu. And I walked, and you can imagine, 120 plus 4, 8, and still 30 overs to go. We played 60 overs.
Yeah.
Those days. Okay, so I walked in. You couldn't imagine what would have gone into my mind. Hey man, 17 for 5, 128 for 8. How do we win this match? So with the great willpower not to give up, I went up to Kapil, who was knocked out 50 plus at that time. Okay, I told Kapil, we are in a do or die situation, my dear captain. And now we cannot just die like this. If we have to, I told him in Hindi, I said, agar marna hai, to humko maar ke marne ka. तो मैं उनको कहा कि भाई मैं एक डिलीवरी खेलूंगा, एक रन लूंगा और आपको 5 डिलीवरीज दूंगा मैं. You got to hit and not play. Hit all 5 deliveries. This was the motivation and inspiration I instilled into the captain.
Yes, sir.
And Kapil's reply was, Kiri bhai, और 30 ओवर खेलना है हमको. मैं बोला, don't worry, we will play all 60 overs. I will give you the maximum support, which I have been doing at all times, to keep the tricolour flying high. That was the biggest challenge to me, to save my country from defeat or coming out of the tournament. So, it's a history after that. 175 not out, Captain Kapil Dev, yours sincerely, 26 not out.
I think you were like biggest in the scene since you told me about that. Please share some more moments of that day, because that has been a legendary day. Like you were on the best seat in the house during that 175 of Kapil Dev against Zimbabwe. I would really want to know a couple of like some best moments of that day.
Yes. Now, 126 runs partnership between me and Kapil Dev.
Yeah.
If I had not given that stand to Kapil Dev, we would have been out of the tournament. Forget the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was the biggest and the best effort of mine, which I rendered to my country, to my Indian cricket team.
Team spirit, sir. Totally. Like instead of playing for yourself, playing for the country and playing for the team.
That's it. So that is where, you see, now everybody talks about 175 of the great innings, which I have seen from 22 yards. Okay, everybody talks about 175 and nobody says who gave that stand for Kapil Dev to score 175. Nobody says that, right? Before we left for the World Cup, right? Each one of us came up with a statement into the social media. One said, "Bhai, I'm going to go on my honeymoon." Another one said, "I'm going to enjoy my life." Another one said, "I'm going to have fun." These kind of expressions were expressed by the teammates, right?
Yeah.
So, but there were a lot of turning points to this great victory of ours, which is the best ever tournament played amongst all the World Cups which are going to take place also, particularly that Zimbabwe match.
That match has been legendary, sir.
That match was unfortunately was not recorded by BBC. They were the television. They had the television rights.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So there was no recording of that epic match.
Thanks a lot for your time, sir. I know that you have a very busy schedule and you took out more than 1 hour for me. We are really grateful to interview you. Yes, sir.
My consistency brought me into the limelight, brought me into the social media. At that time, there was no social media. There was only the Deccan Herald from Bangalore newspaper, the Hindu publication,
Yeah.
and the Indian Express. These were the three major journals at that time, and they were following me very closely.
Yes.
Okay, so let me at this juncture inform everybody that I'm coming up with my autobiography, which is going to be launched on the 29th December 2024. In that, you will read from the time I was born until I finished, and until now, what's going on with me, what went on with me. You'll read all that in my autobiography.
I am very sure
Inshallah.
I'm going to be the first buyer of that autobiography, sir, because like the journey you're telling me is really inspirational.